Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today I've got an awesome guest on my channel, and that's my darling husband. And today we'll be discussing what, babe?
6 things we wish we knew before we got married.
Yep, we'll be discussing 6 things we wish we knew before we got married. Okay, so the first point will be, regardless of what the issue is, regardless of what the argument is, who's right, who's wrong, what you guys think, do not take your marital issues to family members. So husband's parents, wife's parents, do not make that mistake. That was something that I think we've both done it, to be honest, in marriage, and it just doesn't play out well, because eventually when myself and my husband settled, biases are already at play. My husband is from a family, he has a mother and a father. I'm from a family, I have a mother and a father. There's no how my husband's parents is going to hear that, okay, he's not happy or something's going on, and they will have peace of mind. And there's no way my parents are going to hear that, oh, I'm not happy and something is going on, and they're going to be happy. So it just saves a lot of hassle. Any issues, we try to work it out between ourselves at home. Baby,
Yeah.
what do you think?
And also, even when we resolve the issues within ourselves, right?
Yeah.
They are not privy. I mean, they don't have that information.
Yeah.
They are not aware. So
Most times
we are good, and they're thinking,
They're
oh,
still
that things are
thinking
not
that, yeah.
going well. And it's the reason why it's best to just resolve the matters amongst ourselves, and don't bring family members in.
Yeah.
So the point number 2 is that love looks different after you say I do. And it's one of the things that you realize in your first year of marriage. In fact, you quickly realize that,
You're like,
because after the butterflies, of course, the butterflies will still be there, but there will be
are
a
you
point
sure?
where,
Do you still have butterflies?
of course, I have enough butterflies. They're all around.
Okay.
So after you've gotten over the butterfly feelings, and you've come to the reality of marriage and responsibility, you now begin to say that, okay, you have to make a conscious choice to love your partner. It would be a choice you have to wake up every day to make in your relationship.
Yeah.
Because there are times where you get up in the morning and your wife, she might not wake up in the right side of the bed. She might be
What are you
maybe
trying to say?
grumpy.
Me? Please,
she might be grumpy, and you just
Wait, what? Really? Am I grumpy in the morning?
sometimes.
I'm grumpy in the morning.
Sometimes.
Oh.
It's not common actually, but sometimes,
Okay,
sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but you have to make sure that regardless of what comes your way or what happens, right, you make a choice to love your partner,
Regardless.
regardless of how you even feel.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're not even feeling all right internally. You're out of thoughts, thinking about business, thinking about different things, and you have to still wake up
Show
and deal with your family. Love, your family. Show up, as a stand-up man that you are, and as a husband.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think in the early stages, it's about feeling, emotion. Like my husband said, the butterfly feeling, even though I still have many, many butterflies as well. But truly, once you've passed the first couple of months, real life kind of sets in. I mean, there are many times where I wake up and to be honest, I'm tired, I don't feel like praying, but there's just this consciousness that I have a family, and their success, their growth, their intimacy with Jesus is important. And so I pray anyway. I pray for them anyway. And that's love, because I have their best interest at heart, and I have my husband's best interest at heart. So I definitely agree that that's something that I learned as well in our first year of marriage. Yeah.
All right.
Peace is more important than justice and being right. My God. This one is so important. to be really honest, me and my husband, our first couple of months in marriage was not a joke, because obviously we're coming from two different places, two different contexts. We were initially in a distant relationship. So, yeah, please choose peace. You can win an argument with your spouse, but there's no peace. Everybody's carrying face. There's malice. You know, many times, I think I tend to lean more to that, where I feel strongly on a matter with my husband, and you know, I'm giving him insights. I'm saying, honey, have you looked at it this way? Have you considered this? Look at what I read. This is where I got this thing from. And you know, it looks like I'm winning the argument, but I'm strangling the joy and the peace in the home. You know, so I kind of had to learn to just let things go. I can have a point and I'm trying to communicate it, and in that moment he just doesn't want to hear it, or you know, it's not resonating with him and he doesn't agree. It's okay to leave it, you know. And sometimes what I found is that even when I leave those matters, he can go and reason on his own and maybe come back later and say, you know what, actually this is what I think about it, or this is how I feel about this thing. So I think really and truly, if you're looking at spending a lifetime with somebody, you have to choose peace. It's important. Yeah, babe, what do you think?
Yeah, I also think that, you know, in marriage, you would come to understand your partner much more, you know. So I feel like the reason why we had the misunderstandings we had at the beginning stage is because we're still trying to learn each other, you know.
Yeah.
I'm someone that I think a lot, right? And I can be... Oh, of course.
Oh, sorry, you. We don't used to think. Yeah.
So one of the things I've learned in a relationship is the supremacy of peace over quarrel, over, you know, misunderstanding, you know. And I would say that at the beginning of our relationship, I was someone that I wasn't so used to saying sorry, you know.
Hey!
I wasn't so used to saying sorry.
Okay.
And I would say the reason most times
Please,
is because...
my husband is this English, this phoneme is too much. My husband doesn't say sorry. He doesn't know how to say sorry.
No.
But because the way you're saying it, like, that was not... You don't say sorry. It's not.
It wasn't like I don't say sorry. I was going to explain the reason why. Okay. The reason why, because some of the issues we're having then, right? Although we don't have those kind of issues anymore, we've outgrown those issues.
Yeah.
Is that you are saying something that is correct, right? I was saying something that is right. Then there's like clash of, you know, and why are you doing?
Because, but can I say, please, sir, can I talk?
Oh yeah, talk.
I know you're saying we'll have discussions. Some of them you'll be right, some I'll be right. But there were also situations where I'm right, I am not right, sir. Humbly speaking.
All right, okay.
And you might come to the realization that, okay, you know what, maybe I should just make peace now. But you are happy to, the matter will, you know, you will let it
okay,
go
there was situations
like that, babe.
Right. Yes, there are situations like in the past, right?
So why didn't you say sorry to me?
We eventually still resolve those situations.
But, can you tell everybody why you refuse to apologize to your wife?
I was trying to explain it. Right? Because sorry is expensive.
No, but seriously.
When I hear sorry, I want you to carry me. Okay. Anyways, right. All right. So, I think the things I really have learned is that when you've done something wrong, right, you need to apologize immediately before it escalates. So I've learned that, you know, and like I was trying to explain, right, the reason why, especially when I see that we are both right in the matter and, you know, you're getting emotional, the reason why back then I didn't want to always say sorry in that kind of situation is so just not to, you know, what's the word?
You don't need to take advantage.
Yeah, you know, just, you know, so, but now, right, even in situations like that, I would easily say sorry, you know, then, okay, sorry, and you feel
Yeah.
alright, then I will now explain.
Yeah.
So, and it's really helped marriage because you can both be right and there's war in your marriage,
Yeah.
and every way is just, I mean, the mood, the energy,
Mhm.
even your productivity will be affected
Yeah.
in that kind of situation. So peace is sovereign over war in
Yeah.
marriage. Point number 4, you're not just marrying your partner, you're marrying their family background,
Mm.
their family dynamics, you're marrying their
The culture.
expectations,
Yeah.
you're marrying their cultural differences.
Yeah.
You need to understand these things, before you get into marriage.
Because nobody's, well, we knew, let's be honest.
Okay,
Yeah, we kind of knew, but we're just letting you know in case you've not hired Abby. Yeah, so sorry.
So, for example, I came from a reserve family, very calm. My dad is gentle. Everywhere is just really calm and chilled. That's the word. When I entered into relationship, I was thinking that it would be the same. That myself and my wife, will be, and everyone will be chilled. No confrontation, no arguments. And it will be chilled like that. But that wasn't the case. For some reason, and so I later came to discover that we had different culture. So I came from Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria, and she grew up in London.
British.
So
Not be lying now.
and
I'm British.
yeah. But
Okay.
I get you, but I just discovered that the way things are done here is a bit different, and I wasn't really buying into it, especially because I was thinking that as a woman, right, there's a way you present things to your husband. One of the examples, like there was a day you told me that I was rude, and I was
No, I
looking
didn't
like,
say you were rude. I said that what you said to me was a bit rude. It was rude.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You said what I said to you was rude, and
Yeah.
although I can't remember what I said.
But where you're coming from,
Yeah.
just using the word rude, saying to somebody that this thing is rude is insultive. Whereas in London, rudeness is you are describing that what you've said has offended me. So it's not like a label or it's not like an insult. It's a description of something that, okay, you've said this thing is offended me, and it's, I find it rude. So it wasn't that, okay, I was really insulting you, but yeah, I guess that's one of the differences that you're talking about.
The cultural differences. So
Yeah.
and I later got to understand that people, in this part of the world are more outspoken. The dynamics in Africa is different. There's a way that a woman, of course, in relationship, there's a way a woman would challenge her husband. Women don't even really like that. In most relationships, they don't challenge their husband.
I think I'm learning now, but before you would take it that I'm challenging you. That's how you would read it, that I'm challenging you. Really?
Before, right. I see certain confrontation as a challenge, especially when, based on personality, when you're being strong on it. Because I came from a home that is, very, reserved. And I think especially because of all I grew up, I wasn't so much about confrontation,
Yeah.
So it was different,
Yeah.
You are more, in terms of your personality, more expressive,
Yeah.
So I had to learn to adjust, give you the, opportunity to speak, especially when you're having some, things you want to communicate to me. So I had to learn to listen more,
Yeah.
and not take it as you've been confrontation now, and
You've really
you wanting
tried.
to fight me. And so I had to understand that, and then at the end of it, usually we're able to listen to each other and resolve the matter without, it breaking into something serious.
I think a lot of the issues that we had was surrounding, or this was at play, the culture, family dynamics, emotional baggage, it was at play. So I come from a home where my dad is, both of my parents are Nigerian, but my dad is Urhobos from Delta State. And, excuse me, they tend to have a very, what can I say now? Will I say a harsh, a strong personality? They take strong positions on things. So maybe I kind of inherited that, so when I'm communicating with my husband, and I feel a kind of way, I don't think I'm being rude, but I'll say, okay, this is what I think. I'm also of the opinion that we're talking about family here, and to me, it's important that the family grows. It's also important that as individuals we grow. If everybody's deceiving my husband, I feel like I'm in the position to tell him the truth. So that's where I was coming from. But I'm now learning that the delivery is also important. If I claim I mean well, but my delivery is wrong, whatever I'm saying is going to land wrong, and then it's going to cause a fight. I would also say that in terms of family background, truly my husband comes from a more quiet home. Some of the things that he initially saw as a virtue, being with someone like me, has opened his eyes to the fact that there's a benefit to having certain personality traits that I have. And I would say likewise, I think in terms of I'm always like gym, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And I forsake character sometimes, but being with my husband has character, and being Christian, sometimes we judge spirituality. I just want to chip this in. We judge spirituality by a lot of activity. But many times people who look very spiritual, they do not bear the fruit of the spirit. There's no character. That's one thing that I've really taken away from my husband. I've really learned, and I'm, adopting being with him, is that character is important. You can pray in capital letter tongues. You can do, what I mean? You can be worded. You can know so much, but there's no character. So although our different family backgrounds and the cultures we are coming from initially were causing us to fight, with wisdom, we've been able to draw out the benefits, from those different areas and then apply them, in the right kind of way. So yeah, babe, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
That, with all the things we've said, it's important that we also respect our differences.
Yeah.
So respecting our differences has really helped us a lot to listen, just to listen, because that you are different doesn't mean you're bad, right?
Yeah.
And that I'm different the way doesn't mean I'm bad.
Yeah.
So the more you just respect, you understand that differences, and you give room for the differences, the more you have peace in your relationship. So if I try to change, and I try to change into me, into being gentle, and then I'm not going to get the best of you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to hear the truth when I need to hear the truth, for example. So, and I think I really appreciate the fact that you are the way you are, and it's a benefit that, I might not get if I was married to someone that was quiet, So, so that's it.
You mentioned something earlier on, and I think it also applies here, which is, as much as whoever you're marrying, the background, the culture, their family dynamics and the rest, time also plays a factor because of the understanding part. Obviously, the more time you spend with somebody, more understanding is birthed from that. So I think that's also quite relevant here as well, that just giving time brings more alignment between, husband and wife. Yeah.
That's right.
So point number 5 is that after marriage, you and your partner, you and your spouse don't have to be twins. I know my husband kind of touched on appreciating each other's differences. This definitely applies in marriage. Again, I think this is something that kind of affected me in the beginning. I feel like I'm always wanting to do activity. Let's do this, let's do that. I'm watching certain kind of programs. I'm into some kind of things. And, every time my husband refused to do the things that I felt like we should be doing, I would take offense. But over time, I'm learning that it doesn't have to be the case. We don't have to be the same. We don't have to be into the same thing. Scripture says that can two walk together unless they agree. So what's important in my marriage with my husband is agreement. Me and my husband don't have to be into the same thing. We don't have to do the same thing, all the time.
One of the things I realized is that there are going to be a certain activity or certain values that we we hold, and it's all right for us to do things around those values. If you value something and I value those things, right, we can both sit down and enjoy those things
Together.
right
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
And that would even further deepen our intimacy. But if there's something that you don't value, right, I shouldn't by force, by every all means want to try to pull you into that thing.
Obviously,
If-
we have to agree on the most important
values, yes.
Yeah.
So there are certain values of yours that I may not really
Certain
have
interests.
interest in, right? But I would come and, because I love you, just sit down, with you, ask you questions, or like, oh, what's going on with this? Who is that? Who's talking? I'll ask you, and your eyes would light up, would glow up, and and you appreciate that, but it shouldn't be every time that you're sitting down watching that stuff or doing that mean that you want me to be there. I can be somewhere else doing my own thing, right? And it's perfectly right.
Yeah, so that's something that
So,
we've learned, definitely.
It's something that we've learned.
Yes. And actually, I think it's a reflection of the idols I had kind of built up in my mind. The unspoken expectations that I probably had, that okay, this is what I have in my mind and this is how you must be, so those are idols, whereas God gives us what we actually need. You understand what I mean? So I think, yeah, I probably struggled more with this particular point.
No, we thank God now.
Odogu. Baby, it's like it's like you're perfect too, because it's just me that
I'm
is
not,
just happy.
I'm not perfect now.
Yeah.
I definitely have my flaws, and I'm also working on it,
Yeah.
So, but we thank God actually.
So number 6 thing that we wish we knew before marriage is that your expectations will be tested. In the previous point, I kind of touched on this, that, I think I had idols in my mind as to what, how exactly my husband needed to be. When you're in marriage, this one is so real, because it affects literally every area. And that's why it's also very important to deal with assumption. It's important to communicate. You can't just assume that your spouse knows what's in your mind. You have to communicate. You want something done, you need help with certain areas, you communicate so that they can actually almost fit into the expectation that you claim that you have. Many people have expectations and they've not communicated it, so it's causing issues. And I think actually women do this a lot. We just expect the person that we are with to just know that I need help with this, or I want you to be talking to me more, I want you to be having conversation with me more. For instance, I love conversation. I love having deep talk, asking my husband how he sees certain things. I like that. And sometimes my husband would prefer no, not that he would prefer to do it. He enjoys spending time with me, but he's not always down for many talk. Abi? Is that the right? I hope am I saying it correctly? Yeah. So but obviously now he knows that I enjoy spending time with him and speaking to him. Before, he didn't know, and I would just be getting upset, because in my mind, a man, as a husband, you're supposed to know. My husband has never been married before. It's his first marriage.
My first marriage.
So he's, as much as I'm learning, he's also learning. So I needed to extend grace to him. So in order for him to be able to even fulfill some of my expectations, it was very, very important that I communicate. As much as I also had expectations, I had to become realistic. My husband is a human being. He's helped by God. The Holy Spirit is, living on his inside. He's graced to be my husband, but he's also a human being. You understand?
So before I got married, I had certain expectations. Your expectations will not always be met. All of your expectations.
Yes.
So I was expecting that my wife would be a kind of way, but that wasn't her personality. I was expecting that she would be, gentle, which of course, right? She has a wonderful personality. She's outspoken. She feels the kind of way she would communicate it, and that's been a great advantage for our relationship. And that's what my wife is actually. Like I said before, she grew up in London, and a different civilization.
Oh, wow. As if we're from another. Maybe now.
Hold on, she grew up in
Different civilization.
with a different environment, right? So, me, I was expecting that, African, Nigerian kind of, submission, right?
Well,
Which my
maybe-
wife is she's submitted, right, to the core, like she's submitted. But there's a way that submission is in, Nigeria, like daddy wa carry, they.
Were you seriously expecting that?
No.
Honestly,
No.
babe, are you serious?
Alright.
Wow.
Okay, to be honest, right? I was just expecting, there was something I was expecting, like, I was expecting something.
Like what now? Explain to everybody. Let them know what you're expecting because
Well,
I don't know.
I would say that I'm not typically a traditional man, right? But of course,
Are you expecting daddy what?
no, hold on now,
Okay.
calm down. So, but I was expecting. There was something I was expecting.
What is that thing? We want to know that thing you're
That
expecting.
That thing, right? I said I was expecting a come on, like like when I say something like you're more, of course, receptive. It's not like you're not receptive, right? But you kind of tend to you question a lot, and it wasn't natural to me, because where I was coming from, right? It was, of course, as a man, you have certain expectations.
But baby, can I just ask the question honestly?
Okay,
just
you can
for
ask
the
me a
benefit.
question.
Okay, you had expectations. I would call them idols to some extent. As much as you think that they would have been good for you then, I want to believe that obviously you can see the benefit in not having everything that you wanted. Because I think the fact that I've been outspoken on certain matters or I've been strong on certain things has been beneficial. No, but be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
right?
right, it's been beneficial. The good thing is that right now, right, we've been able to outgrow, understand each other better.
Yeah.
Currently now, right, we don't longer have, this kind of, and it's been interesting because I enjoy, in fact, I even prefer you, right, the way you are right now, right, because there are times where you self-reflect, where maybe you spoken in a certain way and you come back and apologize, oh, darling, I wasn't, I didn't mean this way actually, I'm sorry, then we would, move on from the situation. So I feel like most time, right, your expectation, like I said, will not always be met, but you would usually get something better, right? And you both must be willing to be open to understand, each other, and also give up there's certain expectations that are unreal. For example, you didn't have the privilege to grow up in Africa. I will not be expecting that you are that kind of person, because what most people fail to do, right, is they fail to realize that for the fact that their partner didn't grow up in certain situation, environment, right, they may not be able to act in certain ways.
And that's why it's good to communicate. Because
yeah.
the areas where certain things are important to you and you've been able to mention, I've not been perfect, but at least I know, and then I can be aware and conscious of, okay, let me not do like this because this thing makes Oga upset, you get? So those kind of things, yeah.
All right. So that I would say that my wife is wonderful now, like, she's wonderful. And I thank God for I thank God for God's grace of our life, and the fact that, one of the things, I would say is that she's able to really sit down and think and self-reflect and self-correct, and I just said it means, even without me having to really press into those things, is amazing, and that speaks about, someone that wants to grow, and I think that's the nature, right, everyone should have in a relationship. So you have to have a nature that is
mindset of growth.
Changing,
and
you're not,
stuck in
your ways and add that, oh, this is the way I am, this is the way they do things in Africa or in a certain place, and I can't change for anything. If you hold that mindset, you would ruin your marriage.
So we've come to the end of today's video. Even I've learned so much. There's definitely going to be things I'm going to take away and reinforce in my marriage. It would be good to hear from you guys, so please definitely feel free to drop a comment on things that you're doing in your marriage or things that you've learned in the first year of your marriage. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.